The Titanic was a British passenger ship that sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in the early morning hours of April 15, 1912. There were an estimated 2,224 passengers and crew on the ship, and more than 1,500 died. It is important to note that officially, no one person or group has been nominated to be responsible for the sinking of the Titanic. In this video, we will talk about the possible reasons or lapses that resulted in the tragic accident. Speed. The Titanic was traveling at an excessive speed of 22 knots when it struck the iceberg. This was against the advice of the ship's captain, Edward Smith, who had been warned about ice in the area. The White Star Line, which owned the Titanic, was eager to make a record-breaking crossing, and Smith may have felt pressure to keep the ship moving quickly. Lack of lookouts. There were only 2 lookouts on duty on the Titanic's bridge when it struck the iceberg. This was not enough to properly scan the horizon for hazards. The White Star Line had cut corners in order to save money, and this decision may have cost many lives. Weak rivets. The Titanic's hull was made of steel plates that were held together with rivets. However, the rivets were made of low-quality steel, and they were not strong enough to withstand the force of the collision with the iceberg. This was due to a combination of factors, including the use of substandard materials and the fact that the rivets were not properly cooled before they were used. Lapses in safety procedures. There were a number of lapses in safety procedures on the Titanic that contributed to the sinking. For example, the lifeboats were not properly loaded, and many of them were launched with empty seats. Additionally, the crew was not properly trained on how to handle an emergency situation. Poor decision-making. The captain of the Titanic, Edward Smith, made a number of poor decisions that contributed to the sinking. For example, he chose to continue sailing at high speed even after he was warned about ice in the area. Additionally, he did not order the lifeboats to be launched until it was too late. Icebergs. The Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean. The iceberg was not well lit, and it was difficult to see in the dark. Additionally, the Titanic was traveling too fast to avoid the iceberg. Weather. The weather conditions were not ideal on the night of the sinking. There was a thick fog, which made it difficult to see the iceberg. Additionally, the wind was blowing, which made it difficult for the Titanic to maneuver. Design flaws. The Titanic was not designed to withstand a collision with an iceberg. The ship's hull was not strong enough to withstand the force of the impact, and the lifeboats were not properly loaded. Human error. Human error played a role in the sinking of the Titanic. The captain made poor decisions, the crew was not properly trained, and the ship was not designed to withstand a collision with an iceberg. Lack of regulation. There were no regulations in place at the time of the sinking that would have prevented the Titanic from sailing at such a high speed or from carrying so few lifeboats. The tragedy was caused by a combination of factors, including human error, design flaws, and lack of regulation. In your opinion, which could be the most probable reason or lapse that resulted in the sinking of the ship? Write its serial number in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel for more great content.